62 Gerolman Street. Used to be a clubhouse for kids in the neighborhood.
Hi. This is the YMCA.
Okay.
Very famous historic building.
My father knows this from 80 years ago.
Really?
That's what we're coming back and doing a little bit of an oral history.
Oh my goodness.
So, because he lived down the block on Furman and all over, so. You know.
Well, my dear friend David lives here.
Good.
See, in our time there, we had somebody open the door from inside. Now we got somebody trying to get in. We would always be trying to get out after 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock. But this has quite a bit of history, this little place. We had a lot of fun, basketball, gymnastics, and everything of that sort. And we met once a week. And you didn't have to live in the neighborhood. All you had to do was come down on a particular night, and you would go in there, they'd take your name, and they'd give you a little button, and then that allowed you to come back on Tuesday night. They also had Monday nights for the older boys, and different activities for different days, okay? Now what you are looking at here is the tunnel going under the East River for the IRT trains. Before, when I was a kid, this was all covered up, but they did get apparently a little more technical, and they covered it up not to let the sound out and let the people in the neighborhood sleep, because you could hear this up this street to the corner of Hick, and you could hear it as far down as Columbia Place. Columbia Place from here is about a block and a half. Now at Gerolman Street, you can see it's cobbled. We used to come down this street on sleds, and we'd start up. We'd start. Huh? Yeah. Now they got. They graduated. They have rollerblades.
Fancy skates.
Huh?
And now it's all different.
It's all different. It's all different. All changed. But memories. Well, we used to come down this street on a sled, and it was very hard to use to take the whole hill. So a lot of boys used to stay here. And when a sled come down and it was kind of
Willow and then keep on going.
Yeah, it would be kind of sled would have maybe only one kid, and then as many as it could get on the plane on the sled, it would keep going down to another 2 blocks. And that's where we were kids. We would come down the hill. And right about where I'm standing, you would get a couple of fathers and mothers sometimes. And they saw a car coming, they would stop it. If they weren't, they let the kids come down. If there were too many cars, they would make them turn up further. And we're going to come to, if it's still here, a station where they used to make electricity for the neighborhood. The streets are still broken up, but it doesn't matter. And I know this neighborhood because I used to deliver newspapers here, all through in and out of here. So you can see that it's still the same. Nothing has changed. It's been like this ever since I was a kid. And if you could picture this place closing down for a block party, well, then you knew what we were talking about. We used to have block parties on Hick, on Willow, Columbia Place, and everybody was happy. We're back again. This is Columbia Street. Columbia Place. Once it goes a couple of blocks, it makes a crazy snaky turn and it becomes Columbia Street, which is characteristic of a lot of these streets in this neighborhood. When I was a kid, you paid, if you lived there, you paid your rent on a weekly basis. It wasn't much because a lot of people didn't have much. And there was always somebody moving out or moving in, and it was a little bit of a history. Now on this corner here, there was a bakery. And that bakery...
Is that where the deli is now?
Yeah. Where the deli is was a bakery. And they made the crumb buns like you never tasted in your life. The rolls and the bread. And they were owned by, I think, Swedish. And then up on the next corner, you had another bakery shop. My paper route was all in part of these here. You go in this building here, and I'd have to climb up to the roof, and then walk across the roof and come down the next stairs. This would be 4, 10, 20, and 30.
Were the roofs all open?
Yeah,
You could get from one roof to the other at that time?
Yeah, at that time, yes, you could go right all the way down. And then there was between this one and the one on the next block, it was like a fire escape. And I would have to jump over the fire escape, go across the courtyard, and then get on the other side. These streets are almost the same as they were 60 years ago or thereabouts. I just want to show you an entrance the way they were when I was a kid. And I mean a kid. Now, years ago, this was open. And you could go up, and you can still see the balconies. And that was for 2 or 3 families on each floor. And everybody knew everybody. You never had to lock your doors. And you lived without fear of somebody coming in and shooting you or kidnapping you. And I enjoyed it. It has good memories. Now what we're coming to, they had a place in the back for all the kids to get together. They had swings. And right here, in one of these houses, I had a customer, and they lived on the first floor, and I always got a big tip from her. In those days, a big tip was 10 cents, and that was good, big money.
What could you buy with 10 cents?
Well, you could go to the movies, you could buy an ice cream, you could get a banana split. You couldn't buy a pizza because pizzas weren't that famous now. We had one in the neighborhood, and if we were lucky, we got a pizza once every now and then. This pumping station And this was a wall. And to give you an idea, on the roof of that, you would come down, or the kids would climb up, and that would be level with the street up above, and they used to call it the wall, and that's what it was. And one time I remember getting stuck up on the wall, climbing up, and I started yelling. And finally, somebody from the pumping station came out and they helped me get down. But it didn't stop me from going back up another time. And that wall was all part of a fortress for the Revolutionary War. Down the block here, the Singer sewing machine. And they had a little flivver. And when that came down Furman Street, and all the kids down the block would start screaming, and they'd want to chase it. Some of them caught it, but not many. So then all along in here, you had homes, and they have been history. And
when did Port Authority, when did they build the
pier?
Yeah, the piers down here?
Oh God, that was much, much later.
So what was down here at the time?
There were piers here, but they weren't run by the Port Authority. They were run by the New York Dock Company. And you had a railroad, the railroad tracks going all the way down and around. So, and ships come in along here from all parts of the world, from Germany, France, Spain, Italy. And believe it or not, that's where the travel bug bit me. And I had my life spent going to sea and walking back in time. I, as a kid, lived somewhere across the street here. I don't know where, but it was...
What was the address then?
353 Furman Street. It should be right about here. However,
we're right at 360 now.
Yeah. So it would have been somewhere in this neighborhood.
Somewhere across the street.
Yeah, across the street. And we had a cousin live at 351. You had a lot of little shops. I remember one time my mother giving me a penny, and I went and I stopped at, the woman's name was Mrs. Sanchez, and I asked her for a penny's worth of kisses, and she came from behind the counter and put her cheek out, and I said, no, I don't want that, I want candy, I want candy kisses. Oh, and like I was almost in tears because she wasn't going to give me the candy, and I didn't want the kiss, I wanted the candy. We're standing on Atlantic and Furman Street, and at that time this used to be known as South Ferry because the ferry used to come in over here and it used to take you over to Staten Island, to Lower Manhattan. Here on this corner, approximately, there was a tobacco shop, and it was run by a couple, and they would take care of all the trade coming off the ferries or going on. And there was a barber shop, and so many other little shops around there. On this corner, there was a big meat packers. And
Meatpacking?
a meat packing outfit. And you would see trucks in here all day long coming in and picking up and delivering. That was right on this corner here. On that side, there was, I think they were Polish, and they had a restaurant, and they sold all kinds of dinners and very delicious meals. I played with one of the sons on Sunday, and he would call in that he wanted haluki. Well, to this day, I don't know what a haluki is. On Columbia Street, 6 Columbia Street, that's where we lived. And we lived there for, maybe 10, 15 years. And believe it or not, we didn't have electricity, we didn't have heat. My father would come home with lumber, and we would go down the cellar, and he would saw it, and we would split it. And that's what kept us warm. But that also was taken down for the piers.
For the piers or for the BQE?
No, for the piers. For the piers.
Oh, okay.
See? Because this was
before.
Yeah, but before this was.
BQE came out.
Yeah.
So hang on, Dad. There was no water. You said no running water in the apartment.
No, we had running water. What we didn't have was we made our own heat. We had a coal stove. We had a kerosene stove. At night, Mom would take it from room to room to heat the room. And then later on, turn it off. Well, one night she forgot to turn it off. And we looked, in the morning, we looked like Amos and Andy. We were all covered with soot. But Mom just took a rag and put us under the sink and washed it off, and well, we were on our way. This is Columbia Street right here. Well, our house was just about where this pole is, right there. And you had a delicatessen where you could get every...
the corner there?
Right, oh yeah, almost by the corner there. Then next to that was a Chinese laundry. Then came our building, and then next to that was a tobacco shop, also run by, I think they were German or Swedish. Then next to them, going up a little further, there was, I think, 4 or 5 Greek men. And they sold, that was their little warehouse for the Frankfurters. And you could get the most delicious Frankfurter in all of Brooklyn for 5 cents. And then if you wanted to, he would cut it in half and give you the famous 2 for a nickel. So you got complete 2 Frankfurters for a nickel. Sometimes they gave you the soda, but you were more interested in the Frankfurter, so you took the Frankfurter instead of the soda. And if you look down Columbia Street, I think we will show that to you on another time, because there's so much to see, so much that has been renovated, obliterated to make room for progress.